Number 9,
I'm gonna stop
and
you
this is
right
where
there.
I, yeah,
Nope. I'm gonna stop you. Stop
yep,
you right there. I got 2 questions. How
yep.
was mobile? We didn't even talk about you going to mobile.
That is
How was
true.
that?
That is true. It was good. It was.
Well, talk about the first day. I feel like you gotta talk about the first day. Like when you got there and like it was a shit
I
show.
just, I just, without pointing names or naming fingers, obviously, because I don't want to get anybody
You're gonna
else
get
at the
blocked.
site blocked.
You're gonna get
I don't want to
blocked.
get nobody blocked. So I'm not
What a
going to point
pussy.
names or name fingers. However,
You can block
online,
me.
nowhere to be found was the time zones of when practice started. Nowhere at all. It just said 9:30. So is that 9:30 local time, which is central in Mobile? And I didn't know that. At like going into it, at least I forgot. Is it 9:30 central for Mobile? Is it 9:30 Eastern, which means it'd be 8:30 in Mobile? So I get my happy ass out of bed at 7:45 in the morning to get ready.
Because you were
I
gonna get
roll.
late. You were gonna be late.
I wasn't gonna be fucking late.
Right.
Spoiler alert, I fucking was. I I get to the stadium at 8. I get there like 8:10. Parking lots abandoned. There's nobody. Like the screens at the box office, they're completely closed. It's like nobody's here. I'm like, okay, I have an hour to kill. I go get a coffee. I come back. I'm hanging out. Right. It gets to be 9 o'clock, 9:15 or so. And I'm like, I need to go get in line to get my credentials. It shouldn't take too long, though. When Mark and I went last year, we showed up like 10 minutes before practice started. We got our credentials super quick because they had like 4 people running the table outside. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is surely what they're doing again this year, right? Because that makes the most sense.
Right.
I was 35 minutes late to practice.
Ouch.
I was in that fucking line for 45 minutes
Why though?
just to get my credentials. I can't wrap my head around it. They had one person working the little box office thing, handing out their credentials. One person, Alex, for like 30 minutes, and then they finally open it up. Okay, A through L on this side, M to Z on this side. It goes by last name. So we part the Red Sea. Shout out to Moses, right? And so the guy that I met, shout out Zach, who works at 32 Beat Writers. I met up with him this week in Mobile. He's a cool dude. We chatted the entire week. We kind of bounced ideas off of each other. I met him in line. Him and I we're in the same line. We go over to the A to L side, and then I'm still sitting there. It's still not moving. And they finally open up a third window like 40 minutes into this. And then I feel so bad for some of the people who had to deal with this. They didn't have like a fair amount of the credentials like ready and printed. So they had to go to the side and wait for the people behind the desk to make them there, like screen them and then hand them out.
What the fuck are they doing?
Not only that,
oh no.
I get up to the window and I go, hey, last name is Burrows, slide my ID to verify it's me, right? So what do you have to do? And she's looking at the thing, and I'm like, out of curiosity, y'all, do you guys have rosters? And she goes, no, they're inside. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Wouldn't you want to give out a roster with the credentials to people who did not go Tuesday morning to the opening press conference to get their credentials and their rosters? Like me, I didn't do that. I wasn't getting up at fucking 7 a.m. to drive downtown. Fuck that. She goes, they're inside. I'm like, all right, whatever. I meander on inside. I get my bag checked because I'm wearing my backpack, right? And nobody at all. So I'm like walking around the little concourse area looking for somebody with rosters. I don't see anybody. So I, walk out to the field, and they're still stretching, by the way. 35 minutes into practice, they're still doing warm-up. So I haven't missed anything.
I feel like they knew they fucked up with the credentials. That maybe that's why they were still stretching.
No. Nope. It was a theme the entire week. Where they spent so much fucking time stretching, doing like individual stuff that like we can't do anything with. It was stupid. So I go up to a guy. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Real quick question. Where did you get your rosters? Oh, I got them this morning. Cool, whatever. I walk around. I find another dude. I'm like, hey, introduce myself. Where'd you get the rosters? Oh, I got them at the window. Great. Sounds great. So practice starts and they finally start doing the team shit, right? Like the actual one-on-one. So I can't leave now.
Yeah.
So I'm taking notes in my notebook, just writing down numbers.
Yeah.
And
just
then
to get
my
it later.
notes. And then I have
Yeah.
yes, just so I can get like excuse me. Just so I can get an idea. And there's finally a lull, and then they're doing like punt return coverage shit. Completely useless stuff. I don't even know why they do it.
Yeah.
And so I go back to the window. I'm like, hey, do you guys have rosters? Now I get told they're available online. How the fuck does this help me here with no rosters? Like, I know y'all got printers back there because you're printing off credentials.
I mean, they were doing it.
Have a fucking stack. I couldn't fucking believe it. It was a fucking mess. This whole thing. And what's crazy too, and then I'll tell my other story, and then we'll go back to this list. I read a tweet from, and I don't remember his name. Trey likes him a lot. He's got his own like YouTube show. He's like, I think he was affiliated with CBS Sports. Kind of a big guy, right? He said Jim Nagy should be like the commissioner of college football because this was like so seamless. I'm like, brother, are you even here? Are you in Mobile? Come to find out, the dude wasn't in Mobile this week. So he doesn't understand.
Online.
He's watching online.
And he was like, yeah, this looks good.
He's like, this looks really good. I'm like, how can you say this? On the heels of the media dinner, which is bullshit, by the way. Last year, they had a media breakfast before practices, right? And it was like a decent amount of time before practice, too. This year, every year, practices go 9:30 to 2, right? They do 9:30 to 11:30, 12 to 2, 30-minute break in between. The media gets 10 minutes to hit the field and do interviews with the players. I was lucky enough to talk to some folks. It was really cool. You can find it on my Twitter. You walk into a ballroom, right? It's a massive ballroom, tons of tables set up for the players. They have 5 podiums against the back wall with microphones and speakers, right? Naturally, you would assume that if there's microphones and speakers set up, that they'd be functional, correct?
Nope.
Tell me why the entire media dinner, 2 of them worked. 2 of them. The worst part about it, Alex, and this is how I know this shit was ran so poorly and that maybe certain individuals don't actually care as much as they make it seem like on Twitter. There were people on the floor of the event walking around talking to the media members, which I didn't see last year, so that was actually kind of interesting. They were around, didn't care to notice, the players on the podiums, I can't hear them. They're like, the speakers aren't working. None of the staff members seem to care. They didn't give a fuck at all. So I fail to understand like how this is viewed as a raging success when, like, logistically speaking, all of it was a nightmare. The practice ended at 2. The little media thing started at 3:30. You had an hour and a half to get from the stadium downtown, find parking, get up to the ballroom. It took me 45 minutes to get down there, and I left like as soon as practice ended. And it took me 45 minutes.
Yeah. Fuck.
There were people still rolling in as the players got there. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I can't see how this is viewed as a success when the whole thing just seemed so poorly managed. But otherwise, it was great. I did get burnt the first day because my dumbass forgot sunscreen. Left side of my body got cooked. I got a little blister on my ear. It's great. What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, you look like you had something to say.
I said I had 2 questions, and I'm trying to remember my other one, but I can't. So I was gonna.
That is true.
Going. Yeah.
The feeling that I got this year was as good as the class was on paper, a lot of the players underdelivered, which is a shame. Last year's roster was good, but it lacked like big star power. But you could tell after day one, there were dudes like balling out, and there's a lot of guys there that really made names for themselves. Whereas this year, I don't have this. I don't come away with the same feeling. There's a lot of underwhelming players this year, which is disappointing. And I'm sure we'll later on we will go through these lists again, and I'll talk about these players who underperformed. But it is what it is. You realize your second question?
I did. Who's the Puka this year? Who's the Pookie? Because I will have you know, like, and Garrett tells us all the time, right here, like everyone figured out who Puka was in week 1, and was going crazy on the fantasy list. Now the hot topic is who is it this year? Well, Garrett's the one that found him last year.
I found him after one day. One day of practices, no other practices, didn't play in the game. And I said, after day 1, this kid's going to be legit. That is a massive feather in my cap. Yes, I will 100% brag about that every opportunity I get. That I found him in Mobile after one day of practices.
So, who was that? I know you said a lot of undelivery, but like, did anyone stand out to you as much as that, or are you gonna hold on to that?
I almost don't. I'm not gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna hold on to it because I like to. Because if I say it and I'm right, then I'm back-to-back years picking the best rookie receiver, and that'd be a great flex. I'll be honest. I get the feeling that someone like Ladd McConkey could be like a breakout guy this upcoming year, where he's gonna go. Honestly, he's probably gonna go on day 2. He's on my list, and he's the guy that I made adjustment for, like today. I moved him like significantly higher up on my list than I had him before.
He's on my list too. He's on my list.
He's got the best routes out of anybody in the entire draft class, and I feel like it again with him. It's probably about system. He'll be the slot guy. I could see him being a reception machine next year.
Yeah, I can see it.
I haven't officially made up my mind yet. I don't want to put the label just yet, but if I had to pencil somebody in, write it in pencil where I can erase it, I'm probably putting in his Ladd.
All right, here we go. All right, go to your number 9. Sorry, I had to ask about mobile. I felt like that was important, and we didn't even talk about it. So
that is fair. I kind of just skipped right over it. So maybe that's on me.
You're tired. So that's why.
I am. Yeah, I'm pretty tired.